What's going on? Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, cover the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe. Thank you for tuning in. This, what night is it, man? I have a baby and I still forget what nights it is. But thanks for tuning in tonight as we're going to talk about the press conference today that the media in Charlotte was able to have with Scott Fitterer. And for the first time, newly signed, traded for Baker Mayfield. So I'd like to remind you, AKA Man of the People, I work for you. So my videos are always live because I like to interact. I like to answer your questions. Now, first, I'm certainly going to go over the highlights, if you will, that I've gathered, in my opinion, from the press conference today with both Scott and Baker. But I want your questions. So go ahead, go in the comments, type your questions, let me know what it is that you want to talk about, and we'll be sure to talk about it. And let me just give a big shout out to Felix Graham. First person sitting in the studio waiting for me to go live like 15 minutes prior to the show. So Felix, I appreciate it. You already hit the like button. So yes, if you have not hit the like button, please do so. It's the easiest way to show your support for me, help this channel grow, help more Carolina Panther fans find out about me, which allows me to do more for you guys, right? So if you enjoy it, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. And last but not least, bell notification so that you can go live. My wife isn't here looking for my water, so hopefully my voice will hold up because it usually goes bad doing one of these shows. What's up, Kel Davis? Yes, shout out to the kids, man. My son's almost 10 months old now. He is not sleeping through the night. My wife is getting up a lot to feed him, so she takes the brunt of it, but boy, I still see her getting up, and man, it's a lot of work. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and get into this Carolina Panthers. Now that the signing of Baker Mayfield is official, the Carolina Panthers had to make a corresponding move to free up some roster space. That move, they released rookie quarterback David Cheek. So he is no longer with the team. Again, releasing rookie quarterback David Cheek is no longer with the team in order to make room for Baker Mayfield. What's up, Chris Johnson? Thank you so much for tuning in. So Scott Fitterer was first up today to talk with the media about his acquisition. And you go say, I don't know where this team's going to go. I don't know how long Matt Rule's going to be here. But me, Chris Jenkins, I personally love the way that Scott Fitterer is constantly making deals to try to improve this team. I think he is doing a pretty solid job of making deals and getting us a better team on the field. And it's going to be up to the coaches, Matt Rule primarily, to make sure this is possible. And you know what? Check this out. So Scott Fitterer also knows, to me, he showed his hand, not showed his hand, but showed today why he's good at making these deals. So he started off the press conference by mentioning that he's excited about the competition at this position that he's now created with having the two veterans, Sam Darnold, as well as Baker Mayfield. But then he went on to make sure he specifically thanked the Cleveland Browns and the organization. And he named a few people in particular for working with him, for working hard to get this deal done. He thanked Baker Mayfield's agent. I mean, this guy thanked everybody involved. And I see how he's getting deals done because he's making sure that, hey, not only am I going to get a deal from you, I want to be your friend. I'm going to thank you. I know what happened without you. I'm not going to be like arrogant, like, yeah, I'm just doing these deals. So to me, that's some behind the scenes information that's pretty cool to know, and about how Scott Fitterer communicates. What's up, Chris Johnson? What's up, KPM? I see your question, so I'm going to get to your question. Let me go ahead and go through some of the notes that I have from Scott Fitterer. So Scott talked about the fact that we now have Sam and we have Baker. Are we planning to trade Sam because we now have Baker? No. That's not the plan yet. And even if that was something in the back of their mind, I don't think that they should say right now, because they're trying to get both of these guys to perform well so that, hey, what if Baker's doing good and Sam's doing pretty decent? You want to give that guy the freedom to operate well and to do well, and then when that time comes, you entertain it. But as of right now, as of today, July the 12th, that is not the plan that they want to put out there. The plan is to keep both of these guys, make it an open competition. They've said it before. They believe in having competition at all the positions because it makes the next guy better. So it will be an open position. And so far, also in regards to Sam and trading him, they have not received any calls right now for Sam Darnold, as well as something that GM Fitterer mentioned. Uh, what about Baker and this personality? What about Baker and him being like, some reporters say he's not an adult, he's childish, he's this, he's that. You know, they do their due diligence before they get anybody on this team, and Baker Mayfield was no exception. And he wanted to make sure that he pointed out that everybody that they spoke to, that they had on their list, they were going to be seeking to get information about Baker, gave positive, good reviews about Baker as a person and as a player. And then even beyond the people that they had on their list to go out and get information, they had coaches just calling them unsolicited to tell them about Baker being a good guy. So all those things combined for this group to feel like getting Baker Mayfield and worrying about anything of his personality is nothing to worry about. As a matter of fact, they like his fiery personality. They want that fiery personality. They want guys that want to win and have that edge to them. So they appreciate that and Baker Mayfield. So for most, it seems like, okay, this was the final piece, right? Not that we don't need anything else, but we got a lot of things addressed in the draft, including a quarterback potentially of the future in Matt Corral, or, maybe he's a guy now that can take his time coming along. We have Sam Darnold that we had to bring back, but then we also went and got Baker Mayfield to say, well, we really don't have to put the pressure on Matt to win right now. We can have this other competition. Maybe Baker works out good for the long term. Maybe he's just a one-year rental. So we've addressed a lot of needs. So I had to ask Scott, what's next? What are the next needs that you think this team has that you're looking for? Now, training camp's right around the corner, about 2 weeks away. So imagine that there's not much, but I'm going to give you guys 2 seconds to see if you can guess what Scott said are his remaining needs and things that he's eyeing. But time's up, so I'm going to go ahead and share it with you. Here's Scott talking about
Chris Jenkins with Charlotte Bob. Congratulations on marking another item off the list. Just curious if you had that list, what that new list of priorities may be for you, or do you feel like you're more in a wait-and-see mode for more changes for player personnel leading up to training camp?
From a organization standpoint, I think we're always looking to add competition, like I said. So we will tinker with the roster here and there. Obviously, we want our guys that are here to feel comfortable. We like the guys that are here. We feel like we can go into the season with them. But if there's an opportunity to add, we'll do that. I think if you're asking specifically, I think we'd look at defensive line, maybe a big body in the middle, maybe another pass rusher. We added a punt return guy. That was a big part of our list with Andre. So we like the roster where it's at. We'll get in training camp and see what we need at that point. Obviously get with our personnel staff and Matt and his coaching staff, and we'll make those decisions at that point.
So you see, it's mostly a wait and see until we get to training camp. But Scott said that they love what they've done. They love the competition that they have throughout the team. One of the other big things they did was getting a special teams guy, returner, and Andre Roberts. But some big body on the D-line wouldn't be a bad thing for them. Or having another edge rusher to complement the current guys would not be a bad thing either. So those are the possible things that they're looking at. But as training camp goes through, then they'll start to really have a chance to evaluate their players, and probably at that point then can identify what needs that they may have other than what he's knowing right now, wanting to see if there's something that he can get out there on the defensive line. So got a few questions. Well, I got one question from KPN. What are the conditions of the pick that we traded? So the condition is if Baker Mayfield plays 70% of the snaps, then it'll be a 4th round pick. So he has to play 70% of the snaps. If he does not play 70% of the snaps, it will be a 5th round pick. So I appreciate the question, KPM. I'm here working for you guys. So again, any questions that you have, I go live so I can take questions from you viewers. So it's another good reason to hit that bell notification so you can go live with me and answer any questions. But I do go back and check the comments and get to as many of those as I can. So next up was Baker Mayfield. And Chris Jenkins, I shouldn't talk in third person, right? My first impressions of Baker Mayfield was he seemed like a pretty cool guy. Of course, everything's new. He's not had any frustrations to deal with. The world is his to be grasped right now, but it was pretty cool, pretty respectful guy in talking with all the media today. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to ask Baker Mayfield a question today. The way the Zoom calls work, we all are in this Zoom meeting. I'm sure everybody's had one, and you raise your hand and hope that you can cycle through before time runs out. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to do so. But I'm going to keep working for you guys. And I have questions. You have questions. Please leave them. But he's extremely excited for this new start here in Carolina. He actually has some familiarity with the area. I think he has family here, and he also has some family in Spartanburg, is it? Yeah, in Spartanburg as well. And he has familiarity with some players on the team. Most notably, he mentioned DJ Moore. He also mentioned Christian McCaffrey that he has some familiarity with. And Baker needs to get caught up on the playbook. He was not able to. I don't know why I didn't think to ask anybody this before. Right now, I'll go to say it. He didn't get his playbook until today. Now, I don't know why he didn't get his playbook until today when he was signed last week, and he cleared his physical last week. But Baker Mayfield got his playbook today, and he says, yes, it's a tall order, getting his playbook down, all the terminology, but it's not exactly a foreign situation in which he has to learn something. The new thing is this time is only 2 weeks, but he's had to learn 4 playbooks in 4 seasons. So it's something that I feel like he has his system in place and has a good routine for knowing what he needs to do in order to retain a new playbook and get out there and be able to compete. Now, coming out the gate, who's going to get all the snaps and who's going to work the most at quarterback? Now, Fitterer was the only one that was available to us today. He said that's really more of a Matt rule. He doesn't know what that's going to look like, but I would imagine that's certainly because of the fact that Sam's been here longer, that he'll get most of those snaps initially, and maybe after a week. I don't think it's going to take much more than a week that you'll start to see some kind of transition where either Sam's reps will increase or Baker Mayfield's reps will increase. I think one of the others will start to increase after a week because they're going to start to have some more knowledge about who's looking like what, and be able to give Baker a fair chance to compete once he knows the playbook. Baker's going to wear number 6. He did get number 6. He let the cat out the bag today that's going to be his number. Punter Hecker, I believe is how you pronounce it, but the punter, who ironically just got the number from P.J. Walker. I'm sure he had to pony up a little bit to get that number from P.J. Walker, has quickly got a return on his investment. I'm sure he got Baker to pay just a little bit more than he had to pay P.J. Because number one, our punter's a pretty good punter, had some good accolades, which is probably why he went to go make the offer in the first place. But Baker said, yeah, he ended up, and I don't know if you've seen it, but on Twitter, Hecker put out there a little GIF of some guy with a bunch of money kind of try to put it in his pocket. So he made it worth his while, nevertheless, to give up that number 6. Now, going back to when I talked earlier about Baker Mayfield and Scott Fitterer doing his research to make sure that they got a good guy, it was a good question asked to Baker about his maturity and his personality and what kind of changes that he may make. And he said one thing is that he's not misunderstood, but sometimes the passion of the game is misunderstood. And what he cares most about, not surprisingly, are the guys in the locker room. What do they have to think about him? Are they supporting him? Are they behind him? If the guys in the locker room are behind him, then it's not so much he's worried about everybody else. And players do that regardless about anything. Your coaches always talk about blocking out the outside noise. They need to focus. Those are the guys that are in the trenches. Those are the guys that are missing time with their family, spending all this time in the locker room. And that's who he cares about the most, is having those guys believe in him. But he did learn some lessons from Cleveland. He has a lot of appreciation from Cleveland, of Cleveland. He's looking forward to that game one matchup of Cleveland. I said, yeah, he's sure there's be a little extra juice there, but he's going to try to keep it down and maintain the focus and say, regardless of who that opponent is in week one, you want to win. And he needs to know the playbook. So that's where he's going to try to maintain his focus and not get caught up in making the franchise pay for letting him go. So those are all of my notes about Baker talking to the press today. But let me also say this. Okay, so Baker had to give up some money to make this deal happen. So, you know, he got to give Scott Fitterer a little pat on the back. He got Cleveland to come down in the money. He had Baker Mayfield $3.5 million that he came up off of to make this deal happen. And Baker said that he left it in the hands of the agent and everybody else. He initially didn't want a number that high. He did not want to have to give up $3.5 million from a guaranteed contract. But he was really more about, hey, let's just take this step forward. I want to go for it. I want to be in a position where I can compete. And that has landed him here in Carolina. Gave up the money. So I'm sure that guy's going to be busting his butt to give us every opportunity to win out there for the Carolina Panthers. All right, so checking the comments. KPMF plays 70% of the snaps. It's a fourth round pick. Yep, that's something I answered. Locks Maine, what's going on with you? So that's the latest. Carolina Panthers are set to start their training camp in 2 weeks. Please stay locked in. Please subscribe. I will be down in Spartanburg quite a bit to report on the team and to bring you news and updates about what I'm seeing and answer your questions. So look forward to chatting with you all as that time approaches. So if there's anything that pops off between now and then, I will let you know. But again, I am super duper excited about the 2022 season. I have been working my contacts. I have been working my network. It's a lot of good stuff, a lot of good content coming like you have not seen before. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to jinx anything, but I will tell you that I'm excited. So I'm going to give you guys about 10 more seconds to see if there's any questions before signing off and, relaxing for the evening. Appreciate everybody that tuned in. Ask the question, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Hope you're all enjoying your summer that's vastly coming to an end. The kids are about to go back to school, about to get back into that routine. So I don't see any more questions. Thank you all so much. I'm Chris Jenkins reporting for Charlotte Vibe. I'll talk to you soon.